Alright, cocksuckers, welcome back to Crazy Scooter! Yeah, I don't know how much variety to add to these intros. You can only say crazy scooters in so many ways. But, like, subscribe, or fuck off, right? And now that everybody has fucked off, those who actually give a shit about this channel, or I guess my progress, for full transparency, I did draw an extra hour. Or, I just drew an hour yesterday, but I didn't get to record it. But I was practicing this. If you're not aware, because I don't know at what point anybody is going to be listening or watching this, right? From the last Crazy Scooter part to this one, there has been an additional, essentially 5 hours of practice, but it has been recorded because past Friday I did a live stream practicing this, and then this Monday, it's Wednesday now, I also did live streams. It's just generic titles, practicing live, draw with me, and then it has parts, part 1, 2, 3, whatever, right? So like, those parts are also part of this Crazy Scooter thing, but I'm not labeling it as such because that's just confusing. Whatever, like it's gonna be a bit. It's not. You're not. It's not the most linear sort of series of progress, but just for your awareness, you might see a slight increase in my understanding, right? And in terms of the skill. But I'm really excited. I'm really excited to fucking think and figure this out, right? So let me put it in a box first, because actually no, fuck the box. Let's just do a plane. The plane is actually a better idea because this way it still reinforces the box, but I'm not drawing the entire thing, right? So that's good. So yeah, again, I'm starting off with like the generic angle, and then we're gonna practice the really difficult angles. But let's go, and I'm just gonna practice the body, not the head yet, like the body to the wheel attachment. Right, we're gonna be on this for a while. Expect to be spammed, as I said before, with crazy scooters for probably a month or two. To be honest, I'm gonna spend as many hours as I need to on this, but it's all contingent on thinking really hard, right? So let's get that going for us. So, and I'm gonna try following the reference a bit more in terms of the proportions. Yeah, my voice is still a bit gone, and it's a bit nasally, as you can hear. So I'm not the most masculine of men yet, but. Oh, and I'm also focusing on really loosening my grip, because that's something that has been causing a bit of issues as of late. So my lines may seem a bit worse, because they are going to be a bit worse, right? But it's gonna be okay. We're going to be okay. And this is just, yeah, like proportions are technically in the reference themselves a bit more skewed, right? Like this is larger. I've been drawing this part a bit smaller. And let's see. This is already a bit fucked in terms of what I did here, right? But it's okay. And then we bring this. It's the perspective, right? It's just slightly higher. We bring this center line down. Yeah, that's already very off. But it's okay, right? There you go. That's a bit better. Right, we have something like that for the body. And the head is actually technically like right here. So why don't we actually draw the head to get a better understanding? But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Kill me. This is so shit. Okay. Right, yeah. So this way the neck isn't some insanely thick thing. Right? And again, keeping everything in mind is very important in terms of the perspective, right? And again, this is, I don't like using this word, but this is a bit of an easier perspective for me, so that's why I'm not making as many mistakes. But obviously the goal is to make as many mistakes, so don't worry, we will rectify this blasphemy. But yeah, the live streaming was really fun. I basically got one consistent viewer, which is a user by the name of HiyaBuddy8. Really chill guy, right? Mostly just shot the shit as I drew, but yeah, super chill guy. we go. Obviously a lot going on there, but that's why keeping the perspective in mind is important, right? This comes down like so, and then this neck is gonna look a bit thicker, I guess, because again we need something like this, right? Is it perfect? Probably not, but it's just something I'm trying to keep in mind as I go about this, right? But always try to think about the perspective, right? So the thing is, like, there has been progress for sure, and that's what I love, is the fact that this shit is working the fuck out of my brain, because I also have to think. It's like the biggest thing about any of this is it's so difficult to think ahead, right? It's so fucking difficult to think ahead, you know. And again, my lines aren't amazing because I'm really trying to relax my hand. I was getting some thumb soreness, like a lot, not some, quite a bit of thumb soreness. So this is the thumb joint. I've been doing some stretches. You just go like this. If you're having thumb soreness, just do this. You keep your hand like this, hold it for a couple seconds, and then bring this back, right? Do that 10 times. I do it a decent amount of times throughout the day. But yeah. Okay, now I want to get this part going. So let's look at the reference here, because this is obviously going to help, right? The biggest thing about this sort of, I guess, like imagination drawing is that you need to understand what it is that you're drawing. Of course, you need to be able to understand what it is that you're drawing, but I think more than that, you need to be able to keep the proportions relatively accurate, right? And that's something I think a lot of beginners like myself struggle with, is keeping the proportions accurate, right? Because it's really, really easy to get lost, and I mean really easy to get lost in all the different things you need to do, right, in order to keep it accurate. But that's why I'm trying to just think about this right now in terms of just line, right? Because I know I keep changing the shape up a little as well, and it's not really intentional per se, but it is extremely difficult to keep it's extremely difficult to keep it all in mind, which is what I'm trying to do here. But again, even here, maybe there's a bit of an error as they say. So perhaps just something like this is good enough for now, right? And there is this shape again, which I still am trying to figure out how I want to go about it, because it's just something that's like a sheath of sorts, or a covering, as you could say, right? And again, like, I did fuck this up a little, to be honest. It should have been more like that. This thing wasn't this. All the mistakes start here, right? Because I didn't think about the perspective properly here. And again, it's not just think about the perspective. It's visualizing what I want to do next, right? While keeping the perspective in mind, right? So there's a lot of extra steps here. Again, this comes down like so. But see, it's not just this anymore, is it? It is not. We have an entirely new covering thing. This covering is actually half the size of this. This wheel is much larger than I anticipated. The wheel is around this big. Like, it's a pretty big wheel. And in my previous practices on the stream, and even before, right? Look at the difference. It shouldn't be like that. Like, if we're just gonna put it as a box, right? If this is the wheel, this is the body, right? The wheel is basically half the size of the body, roughly, right? Oh, sorry, the wheel covering is the half the size of the body, and then the wheel is like this. It's a pretty fucking big wheel, right? But actually, this juts out even further. It's like this, right? So again, let me actually rest my brain because thinking about all that is very difficult. But again, thinking about it is the whole point, right? You have to be able to think about all this and put that effort in. This is also a bit too long, so I think I should have brought this down a bit more, a bit downward. This like headpiece, and a bit more forward. Yeah, it does feel like it's been a while since I recorded because yesterday I didn't get to because I was out. Thankfully, still drew for an hour at the minimum, but and then Monday was streaming day, right? I was streaming everywhere, all over the floor. So this is the part where I have to think really, really, really hard and really take my time because this is obviously where I have difficulties. So difficulties visualizing, difficulties truly understanding the form, difficulties understanding the proportion. See how like this, a lot of this has become intuitive. So even with minor errors, it looks pretty consistent because I put a lot of reps into this. But I haven't put nowhere near enough reps into adding this, right? This wheel attachment, this section here, right? Really bringing it all together. So that's something that has to be thought about as well. Something like that. Let's come down here. And I have the reference there just for my own sake, but yeah, like I feel as if this all something here. Yeah, this is way too angled this way. It should have been more like this. Right, and then yeah, see, then it would have come down. Anyways, I'm just jumping the gun here. Now I'm just confusing it with lines, but either way. So we need to understand exactly, so it's going downward and then back slightly, right? And what is attaching there? What's attaching there is, we could say, I see, okay. And now it's half, it's roughly half. If I measure just with my other hand, it's roughly half of this. So that's why the wheel is so big, right? And I have to visualize the entire thing to the best of my ability, of course. There you go, right? And now we can get this covering. Again, as always, while to the best of my ability, thinking about perspective. Because that's really what it is. It's just best of your ability. Right? That's maybe a bit less than half. A bit less, but you know, I'm just trying to make, the biggest thing right now is to make sure it at least is more consistent in terms of proportion, because this wheel again is much larger, right? And if this, the pipe that connects, it's supposed to be, I've been drawing a lot in my recent ones where it's more diagonal like this, but really it's more of a vertical diagonal like that. So if I want that to be the truth, where it's essentially entering from back here, right? It's like connected somewhere here and it's coming down diagonally, more vertically, then yeah, you see how the wheel needs to be much larger. But anyways, keep thinking about the perspective to the best of my ability. Okay, yeah, gotta take a step back to see how that would look. Maybe something like that. And then there you go. And I think keeping my fingers loose and my butthole looser is definitely key to all of this. For real, for real. Oh wow, so it jets out like that before coming in. That's something I hadn't actually taken into account until just now. But now, where does the wheel begin? It begins right around here. Let's say halfway point through this. So it needs to be large. It needs to be large enough that it's actually below. Yeah, it needs to like end right there. So the wheel is something like, again, try to keep the entire perspective in mind. It's something like this. There you go. That's a bit better, I think. It's not perfect, but it is a bit better. And this will allow this thing to come in somewhat. Let's just say it's like attached at the top right here. Right? More vertically. There you go. Right? Is it perfect? I don't think so at all, actually, but it is something I'm now focusing on more consistently, right? There you go. Again, keep the wheel in mind, keep the perspective in mind. And this is a very simple wheel for the time being, just because I don't want to muddle it yet with any complications, because technically the wheel bottom is curved, right? If we look at the wheel from the front, it's something like this, right? Because wheels do have a curve to them. They're not flat, but there's already so much happening with the perspective in the box and me having to visualize it. We're not going to allow ourselves to get distracted by that just yet, right? Because look, I'm already struggling with maintaining the wheel as a decent cylinder, right? That's really bad. It should have been way more curved, like so. So you see, there's already so many things to think about. And this is actually this is way too small, actually. Yeah, this is way too small. So I could have actually made this a lot bigger. So now we know, like, this is too small, and we'll note that down, right? And that's fine, because errors are how you learn. Let's just keep reminding ourselves, and by proxy, hopefully you, the audience, hope you consistently, the reminders that errors are important to learning is getting drilled in your head. Because it's inevitable that at one point, I don't know how long, but it's inevitable that I draw an extremely complicated bike mannequin, right? It's just going to happen. So you just have to literally just if it's already going to happen, if this right here is going to be 10 times better, I don't know, 5 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, right? And it's really just about experimentation and just constantly making that effort. That's actually very relieving, isn't it? Because it's like, oh well, I just have to keep going. That's exactly it. You just have to keep going. There's nothing else that really needs to be done apart from consistency, right? And again, if I said it was gonna like be somewhere around there, okay, I guess it's okay. There you go, that little thing. And if that is how it's here, then okay, I gotta think about the logic behind this. There you go, maybe something like that. Maybe not too accurate, but right there's the front of the bike. And now we can just do the backside. Because let's think about the perspective. Again, I don't think this is perfect by any means, but it's a step forward, right? And let me rest my brain, actually. And then we're going to do the backside. This is better, for sure, but we can already note that this is too small. It actually has to come more here, right? This is like the actual size. So this is too small. Just like my shitty handwriting. Wonderful. Oh god, my back. My pussy, my crack. This is a top tier joke. I'm sure everybody's thought of that millions of times. I'm a genius. But yeah, let me rest my brain. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's keep going. The head is actually too small now that I see. What the fuck is this? What happened here? Did I like rub it by accident or some shit? What the fuck happened here? I have no idea. I'm sure at one point in the video it'll be very clear that I did something here by accident, but I don't know what the fuck happened here. The head is too small actually, as well, because the head is half the size. Okay, actually that's a really it's funny because I made these two the exact same size, which means that I understand that they're both relatively proportioned the same, which they are in the reference. So really, it's like this. I think this the general proportions I can keep in mind can be, and I call this the head, but it's not really a head, but you know, can be like if we're going purely horizontally, right? It can be if this is the size of the head, this is the size of the body, this is the size of the wheel covering thing, and then the wheel itself is just a bit bigger, right? Yeah, so that makes sense, because like if this was actually the size that it was, and then I brought it down here like so, right? It is just, yeah, like if I stuck to it, if we just bring this down like so, it is just a bit bigger, right? So that's not bad. General proportion rules that I'm trying to set for myself to understand what's going on, right? And I think that's the biggest thing I can give as advice, if I were to give advice, is set internal logic to yourself, right? I think of, like, I honestly think I'm doing a pretty good thing here by just really focusing on, like, autistically just focusing on one fucking mannequin, right? Just trying to understand it to the best of my ability and trying to increase the complexity over and over, because once I can draw this mannequin in all its complexities, right, I can look at other bikes and just be like, they're pretty similar, but this shape is slightly different. Let me just add different quote-unquote shapes, right? Now, I don't know why I'm quote-unquoting. They are shapes. Why the fuck am I making them theoretical? Like, let me just change the shapes around. But now that I have this as a base, it's literally the same thing with the box mannequin. It's the same shit as doing this mannequin, right? Where you have something like this, you know, and then you're basically just, like, as it goes on, right? And once you can get this entire mannequin down and you're able to move it around and shit, you can just add features on top of that, or change features on top of that, or change the proportions on top of that, right? It's the same shit, is my understanding and the way I'm thinking about it, right? So I think that makes sense. I would like to believe that makes sense, right? So now we just need to, right, goes out, and then it goes in, like so, and then this comes down and then outward, right? But that's in the middle. So what is it? It's coming down and then outward. That's in the middle right there. It's coming thing, and then it's just slightly. So actually, you don't really see anything past that. So I guess you should just do something like this, right? But if I am going to make this more legitimate, again, I have to think about this as a center. So yeah, it's coming slightly down. It's centered there roughly, right? It's a bit out because that connects, and then it's like really like right there. So yeah, you don't see anything past that. And what is the size? Like, oh, I guess we should set the rule for, and this is how big. Let's see. Oh, it's double the body. So it can be for the body, right? You can do something like, well, like this neck is roughly this big. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm not going to apologize. In fact, I'm going to proudly state it again. That was a fake burp, because I can fake burp. It's quite impressive, I know. Like and subscribe for my fake burps.
Hit that, smash that like button, boys.
And girls, because, you know, equality. And I do believe in equality. There you go. You see, these are also relatively equal. That made no sense. Anyways, I'm just trying to think about the gabba gabba goo, as they say. So this is double. Ta-da. Okay. Hmm. Who the fuck is messaging? Oh my god. I swear nobody pays attention in this chat. They've been trying to plan this bachelor party for my friend. It's like everything's happened and now they're confused. One of them's confused about the fucking how we're all going in one car, even though I don't think we are. Retards. I swear, absolute fucking retards, bro. But it's okay. They're my retards, so it's fine. Okay, so this is diagonal. That much we can confirm, and now it's just double this, right? So that's 1. That's 2 roughly. Yep, gives enough space for that. And there you go. That's the... I do gotta keep my hand a bit more chilled out. As they say, chill vig, I'm chill vig. There you go. That's the front half of the bike. Not too bad, to be honest. Like overall, I think I've made some pretty decent progress. But actually, it's crazy. I could not do this a month ago, so it's a good thing. Like when you, I think what Antonio and even Kim Jong-il, right? Like they have mentioned Kim Jong-il in a more of a roundabout way, where he just said if he didn't understand something, he would obsessively draw it as much as possible for like fucking ever until he really got it down. So, if, for example, he'd be like, if he didn't know how to draw a bike, he'd draw that over and over and over and over and over again from different angles until he got it down. I think the translation of that is he would spend just dozens of hours drawing something, rotating it, i.e. spatial awareness, until he understood it. Then he's like, this form is embedded in my long-term memory, time to move on. Obviously, he probably didn't think of it in such a specific and logical manner, but, or maybe he did, but that's the gist of it. And Antonio says the same thing. He's like, don't try to do everything at once. Like spend enough time on something so you actually retain it. I think my practice was okay in the sense that I have a lot of variety, but I'm actually really just enjoying obsessing over something, right? So that's fun as well. And again, like we got to keep chasing discomfort, right? So this is a bit too small. It should be slightly larger. It should be like this big. Yeah. So it's fine. It's Gucci. The good Gucci. Okay, now that I've done the easy angle, it's time to do the hard angle, which I struggle with. So again, I'm gonna add that plane. Is this cheating? Maybe, but I do need to understand, right? Like we need to completely change the angle. There you go. See, now this is the bottom view. Something I struggle with. Not with being a bottom per se, but the view itself is something that's quite out of the realm of what I'm used to. So, okay, how much time has elapsed? Elapsed, a very nice word. Elapsed. But, alright, cool. So now there's a whole different set of problems we need to solve, which is the best part, right? Because here, yeah, I can start with the body. But over here, can I start with the body? Isn't there a lot of things aren't there a lot of things obstructing that? So I need to visualize this first. So perhaps, you know, we know the cylinder in this type of box is going to be something roughly like this, right? It's going to be like that. Like that's the wheel perspective. We can already kind of ascertain that, right? Something like that. Well, maybe not so angled, but it is going to be something like this, right? It is going to be something like that, I think. Right, because the minor axis has to follow this line. So, again, maybe that's a bit too angled as well. Oh, I don't know why the fuck I'm drawing over the area where I need to do it. Bro, I do this every time. I clearly have an issue with not thinking ahead. But, okay. Well, I guess if that's the case, let's just draw the wheel and the attachment. But then that attachment is the fucking body too. Well, we'll see. So, if I need to think about this in a particular way, let's see the box. So I think that is okay. And I'm gonna try to go about it slowly, but we do need to figure this out. Right. Okay, so that's not exactly perfect, but it's something to start with. Right. And now we just need, I mean, the wheel is contingent, at least in my mind, on the size of this covering right here. So the covering is, if I actually focus on the wheel, maybe. Yeah, we could say the wheel is this size, right? So we could do something like, not the most perfect wheel, but oh wait, did I fuck it up? I think I did fuck it up. Yeah, it's supposed to be more curved this way. Right. And now we have this thing that is, again, it's from the bottom, so it's relatively big. Keep thinking about that while I it's going this way. So I think even just something like this is okay. Again, this is a very difficult angle, so I'm actually probably going to spam this a bit more as much as I can, right? And obviously I'm having a lot of trouble keeping that box in mind, right? Because if it's like that and the wheel is like this, or like, yeah, like that maybe. It's still too angled because you see this is already fucking incorrect, but it's good. Like, again, I'm teaching myself to enjoy making these errors, right? And technically this is already at the wrong part, but for the sake of, I guess, trying to understand this a bit more, we'll just keep it like that. Yeah, that's not right at all. But a little bit of progress from this, maybe. I don't know. Right. Well, actually, huge progress, because this and this are now, like, the evolution from this to this is big. And now starting from a different angle, this is looking similar to that, which means my understanding, even though it's from a different, is much better because this is from a much more difficult angle, and yet it looks similar to this. Well, this was an angle that was easy for me prior, and now it looks more similar to this. So that is progress. There you go. 5 hours later, right? And that's the thing. It's hours later, not minutes later. Not like, oh, I did it a couple times, but it's hours later. But let me try thinking about the parts involved again. Well, maybe just trying it with the wheel first, right? So if this is the angle I struggle with, because I do want to get this angle down. This is a really cool angle. And if I can get it down at this angle, it's kind of, I think it covers the bases where I can see from the top right and the bottom left, right? If you can see that, you can kind of blend together what it would look like otherwise. So let's just make this the wheel, right? Because everything's about proportion. So if this is the wheel, okay, and I have to visualize. So this shape over here, it's coming a bit closer, so it would actually be something like this, where it would be, let me look at the reference a little bit. Oh, it's actually a bit diagonal. I see now. It's diagonally coming down. So it's more like this, I guess. Right? And then it's coming out. And if it is, yeah, like this angle's so difficult, but let me think. Coming down. So that. It's a bit too much of a harsh curve, but no, wait. That's also incorrect. Let me try again. I'm just gonna try getting this angle now. I mean, that is the key, right? To be able to draw this in this perspective. So let's actually just fuck the attachments, I think, for the time being. We can go back to that later today. I'm gonna draw an extra hour today, or at least that's the goal, because I didn't get to draw my second hour yesterday. Plus, I already have a backlog until fucking June, but I want to keep being ahead. It's a bit of my backlog, right? Have a backlog for the backlog. So it's not bad. But okay. So we need to think about it. Like, this is the wheel on the bottom left, right? Something like this. And yes, you'll notice that my lines aren't the best, which is good, because that means my finger, like everything, is much more looser now. My thumb isn't sore, right? I never want to have that issue. And Kim Jong-gi did mention, right, it's important to hold your pen loosely. I thought I was, but I think subconsciously I was tightening. Yeah, I was like, you can see the stiffness when I'm like this versus just relaxed, right? So that's something you need to practice, but it takes time. Of course, my lines are basically going to be reset about 6 months, but in the long term, it's going to be really good. Yeah, in the long term, it's going to be very good. So that's the angle for the wheel, right? And then what's the angle for the diagonal pipe? I think it is something like this, right? And I am trying to visualize this, but I do believe it's something like that. No, it isn't something like that. That was actually more accurate, because this is really vertical. If you actually look at it from the side, it's just going to be something like this, right? Or maybe a bit more like that. But this is still a relatively diagonal. So yeah, that was actually more correct. Whatever. And what about this over here? If I look at it from this sort of angle, right? What does it look like? Where basically I'm relearning how to draw this bike, but from a completely different angle, right? So all the attachments and everything, even with all the errors I made here, this is a different skill set, which is really fun, honestly. It's pretty fucking awesome. So we have something like, if this is the angle, then we have something like this, and like that, and then again it goes like that, right? But again, if this is the angle, I'm going down here. So is it like that? Right? And what's happening here? It's coming in the middle. It's going back here. And then it's something like that. And this is just connected like so. Okay. And then again, what's the angle here? It's like this. Right? Like that. And then this comes down like so. Like so. There you go, deep voice. Wait, no, that's wrong, because this should be coming down like this. There you go, that's incorrect. Why the fuck is the right side, the side that's further away, wider? I mean, technically that's true. It is technically wider. I think it's obviously a bit hard to see what I've done here, right? but this should be the front. Like this right here is the underside, right? Like it's supposed to be the side that we see here. But let me rest my brain, and then we'll go at it again. I think it's getting a bit better, because this is a huge difference from this. Like this is actually a bottom left sort of view. This is not. This is, you're essentially looking at it head on, right? Like it's like if you were sitting and you're staring at a wheel versus if you were sort of lying down and you're looking at the wheel from the bottom left, which is why visualizing is important, right? But I think slowly but surely I'm getting it down. I'm really trying to use my brain. It's why I always try to keep in mind what Kim Jong-il says about literally just visualizing is just about kind of pretending like you're essentially seeing yourself looking at things from a different angle. There's a bunch of different ways people explain it. You just got to find the one that resonates with you, right? Some people use a camera analogy in your mind. Some people, like Kim Jong-il says, it's like a floating head of his, that or a version of him that's looking around at things. For me, I don't know. Like I don't know how to explain it. I think it's just a combination of how they say it. But yeah, really, it's just you're just kind of imagining yourself look at that thing from a different angle, right? If I were to try to change the angle of this body and say I'm actually looking at it from here, that would mean it's more like this, right? Something like that, right? If I'm looking at it from this side, right? Like just the body, obviously. But yeah, if I'm looking at it from here, then it completely does change. Could have made that longer, but that's the whole point that I'm trying to make is look, like now I'm looking at it from this angle, from the top right, so now it looks like that, right? But again, clearly the top angles are much easier for me to do, so that's why I really want to focus on just being able to visualize everything from the bottom angle. And if I can do it with this bike, I can pretty much do it with anything, let's be honest. Like this is such a complicated thing to visualize from the bottom angle, right? And my penultimate goal with this mannequin is to be able to rotate it a bunch of different angles, like upside down, side to side, whatever, right? So this is why I'm so obsessed with this crazy scooter, this workout, this bike mannequin, because it will pay in dividends for everything else. Like even if I just tried drawing it from a bottom angle, like just this here, right, with whatever little space that I have, right, it really makes a huge difference when it comes to trying to understand how things are connected, right? See, I'm pretty sure this is a fuck up, but what I'm trying to do is understand how it works, right? Because we don't really see that top part at all. You know, maybe we see a little, right? But overall, I don't think we see much. See, I'm pretty sure this is incorrect. Like this is actually what I struggle with, this angle in general, because it's basically you got one thing going like that, and then it's dividing, right? But I guess if I look at the reference, oh, I guess if it's the reference, then it can just be something like this, right? It's all kind of part of that. But that's a whole different thing, right? So right now, I think it's more important to focus on the plane changes happening from the side, right? Like this is technically the plane change happening from the side for this little box, or this for this body, you know. And again, like this is also really helping with, there you go, like it's basically a really manipulated box, right? And now I feel as if I have a bit of a better understanding of this bottom left angle, right? And this will translate greatly into creating any sort of bottom angle, because it's, with perspective, if you're familiar with drawing a box like this, it's not too much of a stretch to then be able to draw a box like this, right? And then going forward, it's not too much of a stretch to bring it, like, to see maybe, I don't know, maybe you want to see this side more. So then it's not, then you can start to imagine, like, oh, okay, like maybe, like I can see this side. It's like, okay, like why don't we try bringing it up a bit more? Like why don't we try seeing it from the bottom a bit more? Then you can start to imagine, be like, oh, okay, maybe we could do something like that. Right, so it's very slow progression, and between these, I don't want to be like those teachers or people who teach art. They're just one of those people who are essentially saying, "Oh yes, so you can see how you can go from here to here to here," because when you say it like that, at least in my opinion, as a beginner, it's so simple in the way it's explained, and you're like, "Yes, that does make sense." Again, perspective is simple to understand, in the sense that, like, it's a very simple concept to be like, yes, that makes sense, but it's very difficult to apply, right? It's very difficult to visualize and apply it. So what I mean when I say it's very simple, or it's very, like, you can see how you could go from here to here, what I mean is, in between this, the hidden rule that none of these professionals really say as much as they should, is you want to say times 100 at the minimum, right? Like if you can do relatively something like this times 100, then you can slowly move towards doing something like this times 100 and times 100, right? What I'm trying to say is there's hundreds of reps to slowly go from here, right? It's not an overnight thing. That doesn't mean the quota is to hit 100 reps, but what I mean is there's just a lot of repetitions, and I say 100 because it reinforces how much work needs to be done. And I'm not trying to make it daunting, but I'm trying to make it very clear that I'm just trying to reinforce there's a lot of intentional thought behind these transitions, right? So maybe it's not 100 for you, maybe it's literally 25 before you understand the concept and you're like, okay, I'm going to push it a bit further, right? But I say 100 because 100 is a nice clean number to let you know that, okay, like there's more to this than meets the eye, Transformers. So yeah, okay, it's been 47 minutes and I've been rambling about random shit, so let's try that bottom angle again. And I guess I'll do it with the body, because, I guess I mean, we can maybe just try the bottom angle again, but this time just do the entire thing. Who knows? I'm slowly starting to visualize it. So what needs to be started off first from that bottom angle, right? What is the main thing that requires, because as with art, I guess I'll just go back, as with art, right? I couldn't really draw, like I could have technically started anywhere, but in terms of maintaining an internal logic, there are certain things that are obstructing other things, right? I could have drawn the wheel first, yes, but then I'd have to account for like this, right? I'd have to account for this and how much space this occupies. So while we do want to think hard, we also want to think in a logical manner that will be more efficient. At least that's the way I see it, right? So let's keep going and let's just try to figure this out. I have essentially 15 minutes, right? And let's really take our time. Biggest thing is taking our, oh god, jeez, that was a weird ass burp. The fuck, it was very stymied, as they say, stymied, very stifled. It's another S word. I don't know. Anyways, so again, that lower left angle, right? You gotta keep imagining it. Oh god, fucking tea. Jesus Christ. Is this too immature for you? Then fuck off before you give me a like and subscribe and give me your attention, right? Whatever. What is it? Yeah, that's basically what I beg for nowadays. But, and proportion is really important too. So if we think about the box, and we think about how this plane specifically exists, then we have to think about this, right? And how, I guess, this is doubled that. There's a lot of thinking ahead to do here, obviously. And again, the box is going up, but it's going back down. So we need to something like this. It's not perfect, but just trying to imagine. And again, if I think about that box, this is the angle, right? It's too small. I know this is way too small. I'm making this too long, maybe, right? And oh, because this actually is starting incorrectly. There you go. It's supposed to be like this, but funny enough, this still works. This still works, right? And then we have something like this. So we know the wheel starts off here because that's what we established around this halfway point. And the wheel is roughly this thing, but slightly larger. So we can, thinking about that box, make something occur like so. But I don't see the bottom of the wheel, so I fucked that up. I fucked it up, but you just gotta keep going. The fuck up is just part of the process, right? So it's okay. I fucked it up, and that's fine. Find the center point of this. If I'm still thinking about that box, okay, because the box was like, it's like this. And then the angling, I can try to think, is going this way, right? So yeah, we're not seeing the bottom of the wheel. That's a mistake on my end. I did make quite a large mistake, but it's okay. And again, this just should be a lot more curved, because again, when you think about the fact that the front versus the back, right, wider degree. But either way, just slowly getting it down. Okay, so again, what is the angle here that I'm missing? It's like this, and then okay, not incredible by any means, but this is how we started off, right? This is literally how we just keep focusing on the box, which is very difficult, right? So if that's the angle and it's going this way, that's something. Okay, so it's going to be this sort of diagonal, right? So we can something like this, right? And again, if this is the box, keep visualizing that box, keep visualizing that box. It's not going to be perfect. There's already a lot of mistakes, but we just got to keep visualizing the box. This effort that I'm expending right now is going to be huge in terms of my learning, because I'm just going to be staring in the sky for about 10 minutes, because apparently that helps you learn after a learning bout, right? And also, what's it called? Increasing your dopamine, right? So I usually take a cold shower after a learning bout. So that shit's all bullshit apparently, but it works for me. So okay, we can still make this look relatively, because again, using that camera in my mind, supposedly. Okay, so it's very off center. That's okay, right? That's okay, because we're still practicing. And this should have been much larger actually. Yeah, much larger. Okay, so that's another thing. It's too small, right? It basically covers, if this is the size of the wheel, it covers about this much of the wheel, right? Like if this is the wheel right here, this thing is essentially covering it like that, right? So it is bigger than we intentionally thought, right? Actually, it even extends. It extends slightly outward, but anyways, I'm just trying to think about the proportions as I go about this. And then what above that, it's around here. So if I think about that, so if I actually just extend this a bit more, right? If we just extend it, pretend like we didn't make this fuck up. Cool. Right, so whatever, we don't see it from that angle. And then we have from the middle point, roughly, right? What is that, the middle point? Okay, let's just say a bit past the middle point. So we have around here, and we go up. We have, again, the box, the box, the box, the box. It's like that, right? And again, gotta think about the box. Is it going backwards? It is, right? I hope this is relatively accurate. Okay, my thumb is getting a bit sore, so I need to hold the pen. That's too loose, fuck. Okay, wait, what's happening here? I think I fucked something up. Think about the box, think about the box. Is it like that? I don't know. This still, or is it like this? Might be like that. And then this is going outward, but if I think about the box, it's going kind of like that. So that's why we need okay. Yeah, because it's going outward like so, and it's double the length of this, right? So, okay, thinking about the box, trying really hard to think about the box. This is actually, everything is like getting fucked in my mind right now. But, let's see. This is very difficult, this angle. Let's see if it's going this way. Again, trying to relatively maintain it. And it's jutting outward, so it's jutting outward like so. Right? But it's going upwards too, I guess, so it's maybe more like that. Something like that. Right, and then this, again, this is the plane, it's this way, so let's just think, the box. I'm losing the bottom angle, and this doesn't look like it's from the bottom anymore, I don't think. Right, again, yeah, it looks like I'm looking at it from the side, like straight on from the side. So even though I've lost it, I still want to try maintaining it to a degree. Okay, so this is obviously incorrect, you know? Yeah, because I'm not seeing the bottom of this anymore. I guess technically I could just do something like this, but that's incorrect now, and we all know it's incorrect. So, yeah, see, it's kind of lost now. It's kind of lost, but I think slowly but surely I'm starting to get it down. Slowly but surely. This is completely wrong, right? This is completely wrong because the pipe actually comes from somewhere from this region. But I think as long as I just keep practicing this angle, it should work out, right? And I did do my best. That was a struggle. I did do my best to really visualize that box. For those wondering, this is the box I was putting it in, or I was trying to put it in. No, not like that, like this. Something like that. Maybe that's a bit too harsh, but yeah, it was like roughly a plane like this, right? Maybe I should draw a bit smaller. Actually, that should be the main first step, because if this is the size I'm currently sticking with, then I need to be able to respect that size, right? I need to be able to proportion. So first goal is, apart from, not first goal, but one of the goals, apart from just obviously getting that angle down, is just consistently, whenever I'm drawing this, draw it the exact same size, right? Just draw it the exact same size. Because if I can draw this entire thing, it's probably gonna come up to, let's say, like it's gonna be like this big, right? Roughly. No, because this comes up. Okay, yeah, it's gonna be like this big. So if I can just draw this size, right, whichever way I want, sometimes it'll cut off. That's a good first step. I think that's a good first step, and I think that's not a first step. But that's a good goal to have, and I think that's what else was I gonna say? I think that's pee pee poo poo. No, what the fuck? I was gonna say something. My brain is hurting right now. And I think that will allow me to draw smaller as well. And I think that's a good size in general. Yeah, that's just a good size, is what I was trying to say. This is too big. This is way too big. So I gotta keep this size in mind. But how long has it been? It's been an hour. Let me rest my brain, and maybe I'll just draw these shapes a little bit more. Like a couple, maybe just literally one or two, try to figure things out in that angle again. But yeah, let me rest my brain. Honestly, I think I might just draw this again over here. Try it again one more time. Leave that. I don't mind going a bit over an hour, right? And I'm having a lot of fun with this, so let's do it. Let me put the reference away for the time being. I need to internalize my logic. Biggest thing is trying to remember how everything works. And obviously, let me keep trying to visualize the bottom left. The bottom left, right? So it really would be something like this, right? Yeah, it really would be something like that. Because I need to look at it from this angle. So let's try that again. Let's try to keep in let's just try to keep the, what was I gonna say, perspective in mind to the best of my ability. Somewhat okay. But this is already too big, I think. Yeah, it's already too big. See? Yeah, it's already... But that's because I'm fucking something up. Well, maybe instead of drawing this entire thing again, we can just try to get this attachment down. Yeah, so that's already a mistake, right? Oh wait, it's supposed to be like that. Yeah, see, that's already a mistake. Because it's too long. So again, it's the perspective issue. If this is how it is... Oh, that's wrong too. But I guess I can try it from here. If this is how it is from the back, it's like this. Right? Then... yeah, something like that, right? It's gonna take a lot of time to try to figure this out, but I'm okay with that. Like just straight from the bottom, it's going to be right, and then we have something like this. I don't know if that's accurate, and it is hurting my brain, which is good. You always want it to give your fucking brain a headache. Why? Because then your brain's gonna be like, this is giving me a headache. Perhaps I actually need to retain and focus on this information, right? If you're not struggling, then you're not growing. If you're not growing, then you might as well be flaccid. And we don't want to be flaccid, at least not 24/7. Same, like let me try that wheel again. Again, let's think about, I guess I'll do a draw over. Right, so this is a bit more of a perspective in which, like, yeah, it's more of a top perspective, but either way, I think this will also help. Let's see. Something like that. See, so maybe that sort of size, but then again, it needs to be much larger. It covers, I gotta remember that it covers about the middle part of the wheel, right? So where this, let me look at the reference again. Yeah, where this essentially starts, the wheel is covering there, so it's actually more like this. Okay, that's the size of the wheel. There you go. You see, that already looks a bit better. I'd like to think in terms of proportion. And again, like I need to start it here. So yeah, no, there's a lot of drawing over, of course, but this is where it actually starts, right? So this is actually how the wheel should be. Something like this. This right here. Let me just outline the side that needs to be outlined. This is the wheel. So it should be relatively that size. And that looks a lot better, right? Because now we can just... There you go. You see now it's covering it. We can get the pipe thing going diagonally, right? And again, this is very rough, but I think this level of roughness may be a bit important in actually figuring things out, right? Because now this already looks more like a properly attached wheel. Perhaps I should make it a bit smaller, because you got to think about how it's going to fit on the entire page, right? So I think I should just practice drawing. Maybe this should be the size of the wheel, right? This actually, if I do that, then I can focus on my lines as well, my fine lines. Yeah, if I focus on my, there you go, like this. We'll make this the size of the wheel, because then the bike will be roughly this big, like this big. And, you know, road to Kim Jong-il at the end of the day, right? So focus on making my lines really fine with the loose lines. It's gonna help a lot. I'm gonna cap it here though. I think I learned a lot. I actually do think I made quite a bit of a difference. And at the end of the day, I had fun. I had a lot of fun. I hope you had a lot of fun too. Right? Good old, I don't know what is that? A fucking like country hick accent? Like that type of shit. I fuck my sister every day. Right, that type of shit. But yeah, it's been a bit over an hour. Like, subscribe, or fuck off. I do care which, evidently. I say this all the time. It's not that I don't. I genuinely do. Please stay and listen to every single one of my videos and give me retention, right? I need those 3,000 watch hours because I will be hitting 500 subs very soon. So, yeah, I need money. Oh, sorry, no. As always, fuck you for watching. Keep drawing and please give me money. Thank you.